Hello folks, L.A. Little here with TA Today, bringing you neoclassical technical analysis on a regular basis, giving you trading ideas, setups, and thoughts about where this market is and where it's going. Let's get into it. Hey folks, L.A. here. I'm going to do a follow-up video to the uranium one that I did on Friday. And what I'm going to do is look at the stocks. There I looked at the Sprott Physical and saw how we're starting to shape up. Looks like we've confirmed the turn finally. Let's look at the actual stocks now, where you're going to get a lot more gusto, a lot more bang for the buck, if you will, and take it from there and see what that looks like. Okay, so starting here with the URNM, which is kind of the majors if you think about the ETFs. The primary thing you should be looking at is this breakout, right, that just took place, right? So you actually had the breakout over this swing point high back here. And matter of fact, let me just blow it up so that it's a little bit more clear as to what's happening. You can see it a little bit easier. There's your swing point high. Here's your breakout. You see the arrow there. And you come back in, you fade in, that's all normal, right? And then boom, the takeoff, right? So what's it going to do? It's going after the next swing point high and the top of the breakdown bar. That's the 2 points. And if you look at it, you're always looking for congruence. You're looking for something that tells you that you have importance on more than one time frame. And if you look at this, you have this little overlap area here between these two big bars. If you drag that across, right, that's going to be a huge supply point, or at least it should be. Those two big bars, wide price spread, high volume. That swing point high sits just below them, right? And that makes sense because what happened? You broke down, you rallied back up to the scene of the crime, so to speak, right? And then you rolled back over and it was a long, steady move down. Now you kind of got the thing going back up, right? And that ABCD structure is in play. As a matter of fact, we can look at that, but that's what's happening. And when you think about it, it all makes sense, right? So let's look at that ABCD structure. That's on the short term. Here's your short term. You got a 48. That was the bearish one. Here's the bullish one, 64.18. So 64.18, which gets you way up here. But I suspect you're going to run into problems right in that area I just talked about. Now remember, that's about anywhere from about 59.5 up to 60.5, right? So now let's go to the weekly and see if we have congruence there. What is this swing point high, right? Because that looks to be what we're trying to do. That's almost in the same price point, right? Which doubles probably as a swing point high on the daily. So that looks to be the bar, right? Now, before you get there, you've still got some things you got to get over. And what are these lines here? These are bearish, retest, regenerates. So in other words, when you break them, like this one was broken here, you bounce up, you retest it, then you go down and regenerate to the downside. This one broke here. Let's see, it broke right there, I guess it was. No, this one, I'm sorry, it broke here. What does it do? Bounces up, retest, and then travels to the downside. Here's another one. This one broke right here. What does it do? Bounces up. Does it regenerate? No, it goes the other way. That's your first sign that what was down is probably sideways. And I talked about this in the video before last on uranium. It was the same case, right? Where we had broken that downtrend and said, okay, more than likely we're sideways, potentially up. But at the time, you don't know for sure that you've got the turn. What you know is that the downside has mitigated. Well, here, what we have the same thing, right? It's telling us the downside is mitigated on the weekly. On the daily, it's already made the turn. So that's the way that looks. So let's look at the juniors, and they're going to have the same sort of structure. And if you look at it, this was that swing point high that was broken here. You actually went sideways 6 bars, got another swing point high, and you just broke it. So now you've got some real juice to the upside, and you're going after this, and here's those 2 big bars again that we talked about elsewhere. So my take is this is heading up to the 27.5 area. And if we go look at the weekly, I suspect the weekly is going to confirm that price point as being important. And if we look at it, 27.5, that's 30. And where's the 27.5? Like right in here. Well, that's interesting. we don't really have that much resistance. Yeah, we just don't have that much resistance on the weekly. So my take is here that you know, this has nice gusto on the way back, but it's doing the same thing. Bearish retest regen. It's got to get over them. If you get over them, right, like this one right here, then that kind of breaks the whole downtrend on a weekly time frame, right? Which is really what you need to see. Doesn't mean a lot on the daily. The dailies can bounce around a lot. Now let's look at some of the stocks. Let's look at CCJ. We'll start with the biggest one first. I covered this one a little bit in the video on Friday, but we'll take it and look at it more deeply here. Here's your swing point high, and here's your break right there. There's your test. All of these here are the test, right? Tries to get under, can't, and then boom, you're back off to the upside, and it's going after this swing point high now. More than likely, it's going to break it, right? And then it's going to do the same sort of thing. Now, they're all set up the same with these breakdown bars over here. The volumes are a little bit different on each one depending on what you're looking at, but that's kind of the key area. About just shy of 113. You got your swing point high just shy of that. That looks just like what we saw in the URNM. And that also makes sense, right? Because CCJ is probably the largest holding by far in that same ETF. Let's go to Denison next. And I'm just going to kind of take them in order. Look at this big blowout move on Friday. You blow through one, two, three swing point highs, right? This looks really good. I like this one. And you know, the thing is really most comforting if you're in this one is you had a lot of strength here, right? And your ABCD structures long term are still up there. 697 target. You got another one at 546. This one is setting up the ABCD on the weekly as well. 467 is the target, which is over the highs. This one's set up very nicely. I don't know, you know, you're going to get some back and forth. These things are not going to go straight to the moon. But, you know, given what happened on the supply side on Friday with Kazatomprom, right? And that brings up another thing. I don't have a lot of things that I follow on X. There's a person by the name of Nostradamus on X. Good aggregator of uranium information, and I follow him, and you know, he turns you on to information fairly quickly in that space, mostly on the fundamentals, you know, side, either production or supply. I mean, production or demand. But great source, a good guy, it seems like, from what I can tell. But anyway, I like the way this is set up. Let's go to the next one. I'm going to take the larger ones, and then I'll come back to the smaller ones. Here's NXE. Let's see what this one looks like. Coming into a retest regen, second test, right? So I don't always point these things out, but this is your legend for these retest regens. And this orange tells you that the odds of it regenerating to the downside, right? Because this is bearish. It broke under it, right? And now it's trying to come back over it. It's been tested twice now. The odds of it regenerating to the downside are less. And matter of fact, it's to where the odds favor it to actually break to the upside. Right now, slightly, if it comes down one more time and comes back, then very overwhelmingly it will favor that. Notice that you had a break here on this swing point low. That retest regen has already been done, so the down has turned to sideways. When you do that on the weekly, that's a very good sign, right? Because you got this long-term strength you can see over here. This is setting up very nicely, and that's what we're going to see on all of these. They're not going to be any different. UEC, look at this nice breakout. That was up 15% almost. Breaks over that swing point high. Now remember, this swing point high that we're looking at here, if you just remember back to the charts, you had the big bar here, and then you had the breakdown bar. The swing point high is a little bit lower than the others that we saw, but you can see we're already over it. And that's signaling a lot of strength to the upside. Let's look at the weekly. Has it already broken a retest regen? And yes, it has too. So you had a bearish retest regen. Here's the break off of that. It's already over it. So that wipes that out, says what was down, sideways. That's exactly what you want to see. So all of these are set up nicely to get further moves to the upside. URA, that's the global. It's actually uranium and the energy power companies. So I'm not going to spend much time on that. Let me go this one, URA, and that one broke over it too. The retest regen here. Now this one's still in effect. So notice the difference here. You've got this big wide price spread. It was broken here, and you haven't gotten over it yet. So what was down is still down. We don't have the signal here yet that this is turned on a weekly, but we do have it on the daily. And the thing you can do is you can go after something like this versus others because it's probably going to get more juice than the others on the way back up. Here's that big bar. Here's your breakdown bar. That's that area I was talking about on the others. There's that swing point high. I imagine that's the target that this is going after. You see a breakout here over this swing point high now. And so a little, maybe a little bit more follow through than a retest and then the push up. Nice chart. Let's take another one. I'll take how about UROY? Wow, look at this one. This one is actually already over those breakdown bars. This one's extremely strong. Here's your breakdown bar. Excuse me, that's that high volume bar. Here's your breakdown bar. That area there that I've been talking about elsewhere, we already climbed over it, broke over this swing point high, retested it, and took off. This baby looks really nice. Now, I'm not so sure why Uranium Royalty is doing as well as it is, and honestly, I'm not that familiar with this name, but this is going to the highs, folks. This is going back to 530, 540. What's the targets? 546 right now. Yeah, this one looks pretty good. Last one, UUU. Now, this one I'm quite familiar with because this is the one I'm mostly invested in on the miner side. I hold URNJ, the juniors, and this. And I'll probably be buying more now that I see the turns happening. Here's the swing point high. There's your break. Here's your test. Now it's regenerating. Let's see if it can get some gusto now. There's your breakdown bar area with the high volume. Your swing point high is up higher on this one, but that looks to be the area, right, that is heading to 17, 18. So in summary here, what we got is the turn, right? It hasn't turned on everything, but we've definitely got turns on the dailies. Starting to see turns on the weeklies. It matches what we've seen on the Sprott. And it's probably going to get more juice than you'll see on the Sprott. I mean, the physical will move, but the miners will move even more. And so if you're not in the space, you really should take a look at it. I've been in this space for years. I sell. I'm more of a trader, so I don't just stick around. I've stuck around a long time with the physical, with varying degrees of size, but the miners, I come and go. And right now I'm starting to come again, right? Because they're starting to turn, and that's where you get the juice. There's many things to invest in. Uranium's just one of them, but you have to take a look at this space. This space looks very good. This is the best time of the year for it. At least Nostradamus tells us that, and I think he's right. That's what I've seen as well. And so you have a great one. Thank you so much for watching these videos. Spread the word. If you like what I'm doing, please give it a like. And tell your friends, tell colleagues, tell your family. Have a great one. I'll see you next time. Take care.